Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. And as our friend Nayyar Afaq would always say, a very warm welcome to the black hole. Today, we gather to celebrate and to the best of our knowledge for the first time, Bloomsday in Pakistan. We at Qissa Theatrics feel privileged to host this event. We are grateful to Max Roveri and San Patrizio Livorno Festival for not only sponsoring, but also suggesting the idea that we should celebrate Bloomsday in Islamabad. Max is a culture mediator and a community manager. He is a dreamer as well. He is a great admirer of Irish literature, and he has transformed and translated, performed Irish literature across different cultures and nations. So thank you, Max. Max is also one of our speakers tonight. We are also grateful to the Irish Embassy in Pakistan for their constant support and making this possible, particularly to Mr. Declan Johnston. He's the Deputy Head of Mission here in Pakistan, and of course, the Ambassador of Ireland to Pakistan, Her Excellency Mary O'Neill. Thank you so much for joining us today and for making this possible. We are grateful to the Black Hole for providing us the space. We are also grateful to our co-sponsors, PODA, the whole team of PODA, Potohar Organization for Development Advocacy. They have been constantly supporting us throughout our journey. They are a reputable NGO working in the human rights sector and women education. So thank you, team PODA. Yes, and just a polite reminder that this event, the celebration of Bloomsday in Islamabad, is also a fundraiser for the Citizens Foundation. The Citizens Foundation, they have been supporting the education of underprivileged children here in Pakistan, particularly in rural Pakistan, for a very long time now. The link for the fundraiser is live on our social media. You can go there and please donate to TCF. Thank you so much. Okay, so Bloomsday. James Joyce, yeah, today we gather here to celebrate the life and work of James Augustine Aloysius Joyce, this towering figure in modern novel, in modern literature, the most significant novelist of the last century. He's the contemporary of other literary giants such as T.S. Eliot, Ezra Pound, Virginia Woolf. Yet he becomes the most significant writer of this high modern canon. Every writer, every serious writer who wrote in the last century, in the 20th century, was somehow directly or indirectly inspired by James Joyce. They wrote through Joyce. They wrote about him. They wrote against James Joyce, and at least all of them, they wrote in the shadow of James Joyce. Yet, James Joyce himself never wrote about empires. He never wrote about mythical figures, gods and goddesses, warriors, kings and queens. All he wrote, all his life, was about this one city on the edge of Europe, Dublin. He wrote about the streets of Dublin, the gossips of Dublin, the pubs of Dublin, the political frustrations of Dublin, the religious anxieties of Dublin, the people roaming around, wandering in the streets of Dublin and endlessly just to figure out who they are, their loss of ambition, the paralysis of Dublin. He once famously remarked that if Dublin ever disappeared from the earth, it could be reconstructed back from his books, and that is not arrogance, ladies and gentlemen. That is pride. That is his obsession with Dublin, his love for Dublin. He left Dublin in his early 20s and never went back there. And yet, all his life, he has just written about Dublin. And I believe this is out of the fact, this emotion. It stems from this fact that cities, or Dublin in particular, was not just mere buildings for James Joyce. Cities carry this particular desire for him, ambition for him, the gossip of city, the rumor of city, the humor of city is alive for James Joyce. Cities, they live. Cities, they decay. But most importantly, cities, they remember. They always remember. So for this very reason, we here in Pakistan, we also believe that we can relate, to this idea of James Joyce, the Dublin of James Joyce, for the reason because our own cities, they have been haunted by past memories for a very long time now. I belong to Peshawar, and my city is ancient. My city is wounded. my city is, layered in this fabric of storytelling for a very long time now. And I believe that Peshawar is a living organism. And for this very reason, Joyce becomes universal. Because people from Peshawar, they can relate to James Joyce, the Dublin of James Joyce. People from Rawalpindi, they can relate to the idea of the idea of Dublin provided by James Joyce, mapped precisely in his work across 3 novels and 1 collection of short stories, Dublinaires. So we would be of course remembering James Joyce today, and I believe this gives us the chance that Dublin should in fact talk to Islamabad today, and in a distance, somehow to Peshawar today as well. We would be remembering Dublin, we would be talking about Islamabad, and we would be of course talking about Peshawar as well. And for this, of course, we would be referring to his masterpiece, the most significant novel of the last century, Ulysses. I mean, there is so much to talk about Ulysses, and we would be doing that today with our panelists. The Ulysses is a very strong novel. There are so many things about it. We will not go into the details of it. There are 3 characters in Ulysses. We would be talking about them. But the most important right now for us is Molly Bloom. The most radical voice, the most radical female voice in English literature, or at least in modern literature in particular. She is colonized, the wife of Leopold Bloom. She's colonized, yet she is free. She's intelligent, she's sensual, and more importantly, I believe she is alive. So this was actually Max's idea, Max Roveri's idea, as I told you, he's a dreamer, that he wanted to somehow, find this voice, this colonized yet celebrated voice, female voice in all the colonized female voices around the globe. And for that, he thought that, he finds a lot of similarities between, he told me that, Dublin and Peshawar, and then particularly Molly Bloom and the Pushtun ladies, the Pushtun women. And for that, we took this monumental task, mammoth task of translating Molly's monologue, the last chapter of Ulysses, Penelope, into Pashto, and not just, directly into Pashto, but this poetic form of Pashto we call Tape or Lande. It was Max's idea, and this was, he wanted to celebrate the female voice, which is somehow a bit, alive. It is repressed, it is marginalized, yet it celebrates its womanhood. And for this task, actually, we had to translate. It was a difficult task. Those who know Molly's monologue, to translate it, lyrically translate it into Pashto. So our great friend, the well-known Pashto singer Sayyid Mahi Shah, he's a good friend and of course a great poet. He translated this monologue for us in Pashto Lande or Tape, known as Tape in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and Lande in Afghanistan, this poetic form. So we translated it, and of course he's the master of words. You would see that now. So we would start, first of all, we would start with the performance. We would go to the Lande translation of Molly's monologue, and after that we would continue with the panel discussion. Thank you so much. Let's celebrate Bloomsday.
this sea. Crimson sometimes, like fire. The sky, so beautiful. The mountains look lovely at sunset.
Dasin da or pashante rangu. Jinmar da Bruno shata prevatu mayana. Jinmar da Bruno shata prevatu mayana.
He kissed me under the Moorish wall. I put my arms around him. And first, I put my arms around him. Yes.
The diwala shata ye kulkram. Ma ye targade na chape rakro lasuna. Ma ye targade na chape rakro lasuna.
He asked me, would I? Yes! I wanted to shout out yes! Yes, I said. Yes, I will. Yes.
Rata ye chizati khokhayam. Zrame pacha busho chistaya mamayana. Zrame pacha busho chistaya mamayana.
I was a flower of the mountain. I like flowers of all sorts. I love flowers. I'd love to have the whole place swimming in roses.
Zakhu bakhfala dar gulwam. Hum melazana khwakh witawra taw guluna. Hum melazana khwakh witawra taw guluna.
The smell of the sea. The air of the sea sometimes. How lovely it was.
Sakhwan dawar mujhe yad chi. Hava dasina havagan khushbuyuna. Hava dasin da havagan khushbuyuna.
Still, a woman wants to be embraced 20 times a day, almost, to make her look young.
Pavras kishal zalaya istaya. Jine batol umar da guru sanga vida. Jine batol umar da guru sanga vida.
Nobody understands what a woman is.
Chata lada esas onasho. Chihaza sada. Oh, yisabi armanuna. Chihaza sada. Oh, yisabi armanuna.
Show them attention and they treat you like dirt.
دزرا پتل کی چې ځای ورکړي بیا دې د خاورو په مثال حسابوینه بیا دې د خاورو په مثال حسابوینه
It'd be much better for the world to be governed by the women in it.
دا به دنیا د پر ښه وي چې واکمني د میرمنو لاس کې وینه چې واکمني د میرمنو لاس کې وینه
Why can't you kiss a man without going and marrying him first?
د دنیاګي بده رواجه مینا دې ولې د واده محتاجه وینه مینا دې ولې د واده محتاجه وینه
People make. It's only the first time. After that, it's just the ordinary do it. And think no more of it.
چې د هوس تنده یې پرې شي بیا یې د مینې جذبه یخه پخه شینه بیا یې د مینې جذبه یخه پخه شینه
The woman hides it, not to give all the trouble they do.
سړی رنځور شي خو بل جوړ کړي ښځې رنځورې شي په ځان یې تېروینه ښځې رنځورې شي په ځان یې تېروینه
I thought it's beginning to look coarse. Or old a bit.
ښایست مې ځي چې څه به کېږي بیا دې د کوم لورې نه مینې غږ راځي نه بیا دې د کوم لورې نه مینې غږ راځي نه
There's many a true word spoken in jest.
تا ته مې مخ کړله مسکی شم نه نه وجود کې مې لمبې وکړې مایانه نه نه وجود کې لمبې وکړې مایانه
I asked him with my eyes to ask again.
زه د لالي نه کمه نه یم ما خو په سترګو کې ډېر څه ویلي دي نه ما خو په سترګو کې ډېر څه ویلي دي نه
I'd love to have a long talk with an intelligent, well-educated person.
زما لالی دې عقلمند وي زه به هم جفته په سیالۍ ورسره ځمه زه به هم جفته په سیالۍ ورسره ځمه
going and killing one another and slaughtering?
Kada wakmani da me mano laskivina? Zama yakin de sok bana halalavina. Zama yakin de sok bana halalavina.
But why to be always chained up?
Pala da zra khandu na gwari. Mada rivaj pa zanziruno ke satina. Mada rivaj pa zanziruno ke satina.
It's the woman he wants, and he gets her. What else were we given all those desires for, I'd like to know?
Mina ho vira ke khoravi. Sok baladena star ki singa patavina. Sok baladena star ki singa patavina.
Living with him. So cold. Never embracing me. If the fellow you want isn't there.
Mala da zra mina pakarta. Tashta vajud pashtun de saka umayana. Tashta vajud pashtun de saka umayana.
He asked me, would I? Yes! I wanted to shout out yes. Yes, I said. Yes, I will. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so it was, the idea of a dreamer that we should translate Molly's monologue into Pashto and then into Tape or Lande. So thank you again. Thanks, Max Roveri, for this. We worked on this in a relatively short time. We prepared this in 4 days. And of course, our team worked for it. It was something very experimental, like, of course, the work of Joyce. We all know that how experimental his work is. So we also experimented with it. I had my team. I would quickly, if you would give me just a minute, I would quickly like to invite my team on stage. First of all, the man who directed this sequence, Mohammad Arsalan, the founder of Qissa Theatrics, if you could please come on stage. We had Ozefa Bajwa on Sur Mandal and on Ragyaman. Ahmad Zulfikar designed the stage for us. He's our art director. You could come on stage if you want. Okay. And Abdul Basit Mushtaq produced the whole performance. So Basit, if you are here, okay. And now our performers, we had Sohail Jangir Saab on harmonium. The alter ego of Molly, the Pashtun woman, was played by Nihal Farid Khatak. And for our Molly, we would like to invite Uzma Cover on stage. She played Molly for us. This is actually a very long soliloquy. This is a very long monologue. It stretches to some 50 pages without any punctuations. Actually, how Joyce is the master of language. He would tell you, he would show you how the language works when a person is thinking. So it was something which was going inside the mind of Molly Bloom for some 40-45 pages, and of course we had our chunks from it and translated. Thank you again. Thank you. Now moving to the panel discussion, I'd like to invite the Ambassador of Ireland to Pakistan, Her Excellency Mary O'Neill, to join us on stage. Ma'am, if you could please. Okay. Actually, we need to leave isko khali for Max. Yeah. Sajil, if you could give a mic to the ambassador. Okay, you got it. Thank you. Max, can you see the auditorium and can you hear us?
Yes.
All right.
Hello, everybody.
It was a lovely performance. Thank you, Max, for suggesting it, and people loved it here. It was your idea, so please, a round of applause for Max.
That's it. That's it.
And especially, I forgot to mention my friend, the poet who translated it. Those who know Pashto, they know that how with what experience he has translated these lines into Pashto Tape. So please, a round of applause for Sayyid Mahisha. He did a brilliant job. I'm always intimidated by Ulysses and then, of course, Molly's monologue. So it was a huge, of course, a mammoth task. So thank you, Mahi. Okay, so this is the first time, as we said, that we are celebrating Bloomsday here in Pakistan, and Dublin would be talking to Islamabad and Peshawar today. But before that, I just want to know a bit more about Bloomsday as a tradition, as a celebration. Is it something? It is just related to James Joyce or commemorating, the single literary figure, or is it more communal to Ireland?
Good evening, and thanks, Ahmad. But first, I'll answer that question. Good question. But first, I just want to say to Nihal and Uzma, thank you so much. That really channeled the energy and the mood of Molly Bloom. So thank you so much. It was a lovely performance. Thank you. Going back to Bloomsday, 16th of June, people gather in Dublin, and it's a celebration of Ulysses, James Joyce, but a celebration of literature, Irish literature. And at this stage, we call it Bloomsday and beyond. So we take it beyond. We take it beyond James Joyce, beyond the specific celebration of that day, but it's a time of the year when people gather and they start in the day and they walk across Dublin. They walk in the footsteps of Leopold Bloom, dressed in Edwardian costumes, stopping at the spots mentioned throughout Ulysses. And it's meet and eat. Okay. People meet and they eat together, but it is more a celebration of literature, Irish literature, and the links we have through that.
This is something very interesting for us, Your Excellency. When I think about Ireland, it is a relatively small country, yet it has this rich tradition of literature. I mean, almost all of my favorite writers, they are from Ireland, from Oscar Wilde to James Joyce and W.B. Yeats, J.B. Shaw. We have Samuel Beckett. Why is literature such an integral part of the Irish identity? I mean, you said that we do not just celebrate Joyce, but literature in general. So literature is part of the Irish identity. What do you think?
Well, I think it's part of our psyche. Okay. And just to say a little bit about, like, in Ireland, to be a writer, it's an honourable thing. It's a profession of real respect, and to be able to tell a story and the role that storytelling plays in Irish culture and in the Irish psyche is very important. So from the very kind of family level, having someone in the family who can tell a good story with wit and humour, that's something very, very special. Right to say in Ireland, being a writer, it's a profession of respect, and especially a writer that is recognised internationally. So that's part of it. But there's also, can I go on a little bit?
Of course, please, please take your time.
You have to tell me when to stop.
No, please take your time. You are the speaker.
You give an ambassador a mic at your peril, you know. But the other thing, so it's really, in our language, a storyteller and a poet, it's called a filla, a bard. And they were the most respected people in society. So the role they played, both in carrying on the stories, spreading the stories, and the traditions, was really central and respected from the village level right up. But I think another part in the creating the literature from Ireland is about our own language. Like our language, Irish Gaelic, was the language that people spoke before colonization. And it's a different, so how we speak English is slightly different to how it's spoken in other parts of the world, because you have sayings and idioms transfer across from our own language. And our own language is very physical. It describes the body. It describes emotions. Emotions are on you. So it's a much more physical language. And we can see that coming out in the literature. A lot of the literature from Ireland reflects idiom from different parts of the country. And I think also, and this includes Joyce and those that came before Joyce, from the late 1800s, you had a revival in Ireland of our traditions, the Celtic revival, the Gaelic revival. And it was a time of resistance. Ireland was a colony. It was part of the British Empire. So it was in literature, a lot of people found voice and found voice of identity, like creating this distinct identity. So I think those combinations of the respect that is given to the writer, even to this day, writers in Ireland get all artists get a grant, a professional grant. So that's how much our government and our people value having writers as part of our communication of who we are. So it's a small country, but it holds such a big part, literature and writing, in our culture.
This is so interesting and fascinating for me. I remember my late friend Ali Usama Chaudhry once told me, he came back to Pakistan and told me that he wants to work for the arts. And I told him that Pakistan is at its lowest right now. You can't produce anything, you know. And he said that nations, when they are struggling and when they are resisting against something particular, then, you know, the best of art is produced in that country. And I can somehow, when I think about Ireland, I can somehow, you know, I remember this because when all these writers I name, like I'm a huge admirer of, I called Oscar Wilde a guru, and of course my MS thesis in Samuel Beckett, I have conducted my study on him. G.B. Shaw is a favorite dramatist. All of them, they came from a certain time period when Ireland is resisting against the colonial powers, and they have this very interesting take on Irish nationalism as well. I mean, Yeats would come up with preserving it. Joyce would have this love-hate relationship with Dublin. But all in all, when I read all of them, Dublin, it's somehow I start romanticizing Dublin of that time period when I read Yeats or when I read James Joyce. How do you feel when you see chunks of Dublin here in Islamabad, or people from Islamabad or Peshawar or Lahore talking about Dublin and reacting to Joyce or Beckett or Wilde? What is the feeling being an Irish, not a diplomat?
Okay, I'm an Irish I'm not from Dublin, I'm from the West. Like Dublin is our capital city. It's our biggest city, and it's on the eastern coast. So it was always a place where people went to. They went there to work. They went there quite often to immigrate. That's where the boats would take off, heading to England and further afield. And Dublin keeps featuring, like everything from, you go to Beckett, you go to Brendan Behan, you go to U2, and nowadays Sally Rooney and some of the more modern writers. And Dublin keeps coming up as a theme, as a canvas for creativity. And like Dubliners themselves, they have mixed feelings about some of the literature that portrays Dublin. They would be a bit ambivalent at times around, say, the Joycean Dublin. But there's always great humour and wit in how they respond. Even how the response to people celebrating Bloomsday, that is always very, very, very witty. But it does inspire. And again, it's a part of the country where people came together. So you had, as I say, the sounds. And I remember Maeve Binchy, some of you might have heard of Maeve Binchy as an Irish writer, but she used to travel around the buses in Dublin, listening to the people behind her and the people in front of her, talking the stories. Like Dublin is a town of people walking and talking. And she would take those stories that she heard on the bus and they became the content, they became the plot for her stories. So it is, as I say, a place that inspires. It's a beautiful city. It's a city that you walk through with lots of stopping points. Quite many of them mentioned in Ulysses, David Burns and so on. So you have stopping points where people meet each other, they greet. But you can walk around Dublin just listening to the comments, listening to the accents. And now, of course, we have quite a few Pakistanis living in Dublin. So the voices we're hearing, the languages we're hearing in Dublin are more diverse, but it's still a city that inspires.
And I'm sure about it. It is a beautiful city, and I can feel it. I mean, I can relate to it when I think of my city or my cities in general. We also love our cities. We have this, this love-hate relationship with our cities because we are going through that time of resistance. But coming back to the, we would continue from here. But then again, I have to talk to Max as well because I find Max really interesting. Max was not born in Ireland, but yet he has dedicated his life to Irish literature. He lives in Dublin. He's a huge admirer of Joyce, all of the Beckett, all of the Irish writers. So Max, this is very interesting for me that a person who was not born in Dublin or Ireland, you were born in Italy, you are an Italian, and then you went to Dublin, you dedicated your life to what is so special about Dublin. I mean, Max, what fascinates you?
Well, first, hello everybody, and Ahmad, thank you so much. Gora mila magut in Irish, okay, thank you so much. Grazie mille for what you are doing, okay. We are probably brothers in Beckett, okay, so thank you so much. And Mary, it's great to see you again. My voice is not that better, sorry about that, I can't do much about that. I'm going, Ahmad, to answer your question with quoting a German philosopher. I never remember the name, okay, that he said, home is where they understand you. For some reasons, I ended up more understood in Ireland and in Dublin specifically, okay, than in Italy. So in a way, I found Irish literature as the door opening to understand Ireland with contradictions. I'm not saying that I live in paradise. I'm not saying nothing of those, things that do not make sense. Okay, I'm just saying that I am at home. And with this in mind, okay, it just totally makes sense to me connecting the dots between the Landais and Mondi, okay, because literature is a way to get home, at your own home, somewhere else, anywhere. So, did I answer your question?
Yes, I mean I get it. Of course, that you find your home in Dublin, and
Yeah.
of course, I mean I remember a very irrelevant or rather contradictory couplet from Urdu right now. When Max was talking, I just, I was thinking about Munir Niazi. You might have heard the famous couplet, आदत ही बना ली है तुमने तो मुनीर अपनी जिस शहर में भी रहना उकताए हुए रहना. Max is a bit different. He lives there, in Dublin, and he's quite happy about it. Max, can you introduce your festival to us, San Patrizio Livorno Festival, bringing Ireland and Italy, the cultures closer to each other, and then this Islamabad chapter. I mean, why Islamabad? And why Pashto, actually? I'm quite interested. When you first asked me that you are interested in translating Irish literature into Pashto, what was the motivation of the festival, and then, of course, the Islamabad chapter of it?
Okay, that's a lot of questions. San Patrizio Livorno Festival first. Okay. I ended up working on some things I am extremely proud and happy of. Okay, with some huge personalities of Irish literature. Okay, Catherine Dunn, who is listening to us right now. Ciao, Catherine. And John Bambill. Okay, so what I immediately understood in Ireland, okay, is the positive attitude, okay? If you have a Booker Prize, okay, and you can meet him on the way to get a bus, you understand that literature is alive, okay? This is exactly what happened at some stage with John, okay? And we tried, it was just like a bet, okay? Livorno is not exactly Florence or Rome. Okay, so it was, a normal city, okay? And we said, well, let's try to have these big names of Irish literature in Livorno. And it happened. We had the number 0 in 2018. In 2019, we had both John Bambill and Catherine Dunn live in Livorno. We had Stephen James Smith, another poet I really love, and I really hope we have to have a conversation, Mary, because I want to bring people to Islamabad, okay, but that's for another time. And we kept on, we survived COVID, we started understanding that we had to be global and local at the same time. And if you want, this is the connection with the second question, okay, why Pashto? In the first catch up that we had, which was about Beckett, I remember very vividly telling to the ambassador, okay, there are no coincidences when it comes to Ireland, okay. So it ended up that I researched for a literary project on Pashto Landais myself. Okay, so yes, you had this guy who is from Livorno, who lives in Dublin, who was extremely aware of the importance of Landais in Pashto. Okay, there is one, and sorry for the voice again, okay, but there is one that I wanted to read. Actually, two, okay, two Landais that are very famous. And in the end, this is why I wanted to have Molly as the protagonist today, okay? Because it was a lot about women at the end of the day, okay? So one of those Mondays is your eyes aren't eyes, they are bees. I can find no cure for their sting, okay? It's a beautiful love letter in 2 lines, okay? And the other one, which is very different, okay, is when sisters sit together, they always praise their brothers. When brothers sit together, they sell their sisters to others. So with with this in mind, with an understanding of how important the voice of women is, okay, because it's women that can save us from Trump and the like of Trump. So if I go, whatever, okay, so I decided, well, Pashto, and you know, Ahmad better than me, the terrible stories about girls who couldn't express themselves, okay, yeah, you know what I mean, okay, so I said, okay, I was lucky with this bit magic about and around Ireland of connecting with the Allies and Ireland, and let's do it. And we did it, and it was Alexander. Okay, these Ahmad asked the ambassador later what I mean by this was Alexander. Okay, we can't at the moment. Yeah.
Well, this is very interesting. I mean, I remember when we performed Waiting for Godot in 2026, Max reached out to us, and he has this very interesting idea. I mean, he said that he wants to produce a version of Waiting for Godot in which every character would be speaking a different language. You know, this this Irish writer speaking to almost all the cultures across the globe. So as I said, he's a dreamer, and he thought, he can relate an Irish woman of the early 20th or late 19th century to the Pakhtun women of this time. Would be talking to you, Max, but coming again to Joyce. As I said, Ambassador, that Joyce left Ireland when he was in his early 20s, I guess 20 or 22. But then all his life, he kept writing about Dublin. His short story, the collection of his short stories, Dublinaires, it's called Dublinaires, the stories of ordinary people walking through Dublin. And he was not in Dublin. In fact, he's not buried there as well. He's in Zurich, I believe, or in Switzerland. He never went back. You're also, away from home. Is there something, in Dublin, when you're away from it, you're more attracted to it?
Well, you could ask that of anyone when they leave home and you look back to home. But I think, like Joyce leaving Ireland, he left as a young man, and he felt, I think it's quite clear to say, he felt he needed to get out. He felt he needed to have space, that freedom, the freedom to express, but also he placed the story back in the context that he knew so well and that was so familiar to him. So I'm not sure, like there's a difference between exile by choice, or even temporary exile by choice, which is what diplomats do. They leave their home country and they go away, then to people who maybe are forced or feel more kind of pressured into exile. So Joyce chose to go for his art. He needed the space to be able to express himself, but was constantly kind of brought back to the place that he knew so well, that the place where he was very emotionally attached to Dublin. So yeah, I think there is something about being away when you think of your home place, and when you think of the home, you think of both the details. You can have a sense of the details, the emotions around that, the feelings around that. But one of the things I was really interested in is his attention to detail, including even writing to his aunt and asking how many trees there were in front of the church in Sandy Cove. So here's, kind of using, and those are the days obviously before email or WhatsApp to find the details, but to sit and write the letters to get that kind of depth of detail that he wanted to, as I say, to place his story. So I think, exile is multifaceted. There's many aspects to it, and the motivations that take people from their home place, be it curiosity, be it that desire to wonder, or be it finding a space where you feel free to express, for him, free to write. So there's different aspects to it, I think.
You talked about this artistic freedom, or the freedom of expression in general. I mean, when we have this freedom to express ourselves, or being artists, they do it. We can relate to it. The self-imposed exile, like almost all of the youth here in Pakistan, they would want to leave Pakistan right now. I mean, we all know that. Yet I was also in Edinburgh for some time, and I couldn't take Pakistan out of myself. I mean, that is how I think of Joyce. That when Joyce went to Paris or any other country, he couldn't take Ireland out of himself, and that was a very different time period for him. Joyce actually was not, he didn't get the reputation, the reputation he enjoys today. He didn't get it in his lifetime. How is Joyce? How is he received nowadays in Ireland? How do you look at Joyce now when someone says James Joyce? For instance, we have our poets, our people here. We some of them are the fathers of the nation for us. Some of them are the national poets. How is Joyce received as a literary figure in Ireland nowadays?
As one of our epic heroes, as for a man who didn't want to be perceived as a hero and didn't talk about epic heroes, but everyday heroes. But and I think there is also at times wonderment at what he managed to produce and to achieve. I think even to this day, like when people are approaching Ulysses, like I remember I first came across the book in my father's study, and it just looked so big, so difficult, so impenetrable, that it was almost off-putting. But I think there has been a huge amount of work by people like Max, by people doing documentaries about Joyce's life, about his work, that allows people, kind of enables people to kind of dip in. And it's a bit like an ocean. When you start swimming in it, it's hard to stop. You go into Ulysses, you go into Joyce's work, and then you start swimming through it and getting to know it a bit more. But he is up there. We have 4 Nobel Prize winners, Irish. He is not one of them. He spent 7 years writing this great work that has influenced so much about what we think about literature, influenced how people write, influenced how people, as we talk about, felt the freedom of how to express themselves. But during that time when he was writing, he was dependent on supporters. Many, his 3 key supporters were all women. So he was away from Ireland, and it was in Ireland at a time again when we were going through being a new state and being very nationalistic about our identity, which is not something that Joyce bought into. So it, I think now we're a few generations ahead, but his work is as fresh and as challenging to us, as the time it was produced. But he is up there now as our one of our literary greats, who both inspires, confronts, and continues at times to shock.
Of course, absolutely, there is no doubt about it. Ladies and gentlemen, Ulysses is the most often it is cited as the most significant novel of the last century. It is rather a very, when you talk about the plot of it, it is very ordinary. I mean, there nothing much happens in it. It is about these 3 characters wandering through Dublin in a single day, through the course of a single day, 16 June 1904, and it is rather the name Ulysses is actually the Latin name of Odysseus, the Greek hero. He wants to go home, Odysseus, in Odyssey. Yet Leopold Bloom, our protagonist, is inside Dublin. So I somehow, when I think of Leopold Bloom, I find him a very anti-heroic kind of antithesis of Odysseus. That at times it happens that when you are living in a city and yet you are away from it, and then there is this other state as well, when you are away from a city and you are living inside of it. So that is why, I mean, Joyce is quite fascinating to me. But you talked about women, and I talked to Max for a while now, because I wanted to actually, because Max, when we were discussing this idea, Max pointed out that, there are similar places and similar conditions, human conditions in colonized places. He pointed out that Lal Kurti in Rawalpindi was actually what we call as, a red light district, or a brothel for the colonial settlements there. And he said that we can see this, this trend across cultures, that and nations in South America, as well as, in South Asia and Ireland as well, that when the colonialism, of course, it had the legacy of colonialism. It has so many things to be discussed, but women being oppressed in during colonizations, that is why Max actually is quite interested in Mali, and then of course the how Mali transcends into different culture. Max, can you please elaborate what we were discussing about, these female voices, colonized female voices, the female voices of Joyce, and how you can relate them to other colonized female voices?
Yeah, basically, the concept of colonizing is very similar to what women had to endure for centuries. Okay, so I found this parallel extremely interesting, intriguing, and empowering. Okay, in the end, we are supporting the Citizen Foundation, which is a lot about empowering women to culture, to education. Okay, so what I saw was that this fictional woman born in Gibraltar was so close in the end to someone who could have been born in Rawalpindi and had to endure colonization. Okay, so from this point of view, there is no difference. And this is, I really believe, okay, the reason why I am so into it, if you want, okay, with what we are doing between countries, between languages and so on, is the fact that I deeply believe that is the way to unlock a global renaissance, if you want, okay, through culture, okay. So it's it's like trying to go full world domination without dominating, because you would repeat the same mistake. So it's absolutely mind blowing when you start thinking about it, okay? Because the concept, which was, if you want, behind, okay, that quarter in our Pindi, okay, it's something that you can find everywhere when it came to colonizers, okay? You had the what is the capital city actually of Mozambique, okay, which is Maputo, okay, at some stage, okay, was named after the colonizer who founded the place, okay, which was already there, okay. This is what I'm trying to say. It wasn't Lorenzo Marquez, okay, it was Maputo, but the colonizer goes there and changes the name, okay? And in Italy, back in time, it was very strict that if you were married, you had to start using the surname of your husband. And frankly, I don't see the difference. I don't see the difference, okay? And ironically, okay, also the colonizers, when they become the ones who lose the war, the whatever, okay, go at some extent through the same process, okay? They become the victims, okay? So imagine Italy, okay? Italy were the worst colonizers ever, okay? They messed up everything, okay, in colonizing. The Brits were much better from this point of view, you know what I mean? And so in Libya or in Somalia, okay, you had the Quartiere Italiano in cities that were Somali or Libya, okay, and you had the same, okay, in Ireland as you had in Rawalpindi, because Newbridge in Ireland, okay, it was a barrack, it was a British barrack, okay, so it's this overlayer, okay, of violence at the end of the day. That is terrifying. And again, if you get it as in defensive jiu-jitsu, okay, it becomes, I think, the most beautiful non-weapon that we can use today, because we need it. And if we start thinking and talking about weapons, we are wrong again, as usual. Did I answer the question?
Yes. Thank you, Max. You said Italy was our worst colonizer. We believe all colonizers are the same, and being a post-colonial country, we can feel that. It is just unfortunate that contemporary history is written by the colonizers. But then again, I'm grateful to people like you who are part of this renaissance against, or if not against it, at least you are spreading awareness regarding the legacies of colonialism. So thank you so much, Max. Just one last question. Yes, Max. Sure, please.
On this, okay?
Sure.
You're absolutely right that the winners, the colonizers, writes history, okay? But the colonized write beautiful songs, write beautiful books.
Exactly. Thank you, Max. Just one last question for you, Ambassador, before moving to the audience question answer session. Ireland is very new here in Islamabad. You people are one of the latest embassies here in Islamabad. Irrelevant question, rather not irrelevant, but not related to Bloomsday. How did you find Islamabad? I mean, living here, we take a lot of pride in Islamabad being at least organized and beautiful. So, do you see any similarities or any differences? How was your experience here?
It's been 2 words: amazing and surprising. I say surprising because before I came to Pakistan, I was in Dar es Salaam in Tanzania for 4 or 5 years before coming here. And I have to say, I didn't know much about Pakistan before coming. And when I was arriving here, in my mind, I had almost like a Karachi feeling and then you come to Islamabad and you see the beautiful trees, the hills, F9 Park, and you kind of go, this is not what I expected, but absolutely enjoy living here. Yes, we were relatively new as an embassy. We opened at the end of 2024, but we're not new as a people here. We've been discovering since we came the history and the links between Ireland and Pakistan. So we're only what I call the current little bit of the generation. We stand on the shoulders, as they say, of the people that were here before us, the Irish, and of course, the ones that are coming in the future. But we're absolutely, thoroughly enjoying our time in Pakistan and in Islamabad.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. Before moving to the we take questions just in a while. Yeah, please a round of applause for the Ambassador. Thank you. We have some fellow, if I take the liberty of calling them Joycean. Joyceans, fellow Joyceans in the audience. I know Maz Zafar is here, and he is mad about Joyce. He's a huge fan. When we announced the event, he was so happy. He expressed his gratitude and happiness. We would want to hear a bit from Maz as well. Maz, where are you? I can't see you. Okay. We would like to hear a bit from Maz that why Joyce, and he would like to read a passage as well where Leopold Bloom is first introduced. Then we would take one short note from Ms. Nabila from Poda, and then we would go for question answers. So would you like to tell us why do you admire Joyce so much, and then we'd give you the mic.
I had prepared to read a passage. Okay, sorry. I had prepared to read a passage, and I have written some forewords. I think that should give you some idea, the foreword. Should I read the passage as well?
Sure.
Thank you, sir. It is truly a privilege to participate in this celebration, and to do so in the company of my teacher, Mr. Ahmad Umar Ayyaz, Madam Ambassador, and the rest of my blue befriending brethren. The choice is apt because it really does aspire to that Hellenic ideal that the novel's Martello Tower was supposed to. Before reading the passage, I would like to say a few words about the novel and why I chose this particular passage. The novel we're here to celebrate truly offers everything, the sublime, the vulgar, and everything in between. Gorgeous language like the heavenry of stars hung with humid night blue fruit, and hoof thuds low ringing in the baking causeway, woo the blood in ear, and melon-smellinous passages titillate, and lemon bar soaps take their place in literature beside Grecian urns. I recently learned that Joyce agonized over the heavenly sentence for 8 hours, so perhaps there is hope for the rest of us. Mahler famously said that a symphony must be like the world, it must contain everything. I'm not sure if Mahler ever quite realized that ideal in his symphonies, but Joyce probably did. I chose this passage for a couple of reasons. It inspired my first act of love towards the novel. I excitedly cooked deviled kidneys using a recipe from YouTube. Suffice to say, they were awful. The passage also contains one of the finest and perhaps most succinctly exhaustive portrayals of feline beauty in literature. As a veteran companion to 6 cats, it holds a special place in my heart. It marks the first appearance of Joyce's central protagonist, Mr. Leopold Bloom. We are told about his predilection for offal, which he is considering for breakfast that morning. He is shown engaging in the endearing acts of feeding milk to a cat, baby talking to a cat, and serving breakfast in bed to his wife, Molly. We also get an early taste of Joyce's extraordinary gift for rendering sound. The passage, of course, also marks the beginning of Bloom's interior monologue. I would like to dedicate this reading to my now 7-year-old tuxedo cat, Telemachus. I will now proceed to read the passage. So this is chapter 4, book 2 of Ulysses. Mr. Bloom ate with relish the inner organs of beasts and fowls. He liked thick heart, liver slices fried with crust crumbs, fried hen cod's roes. Most of all, he liked grilled mutton kidneys, which gave to his palate a fine tang of faintly scented urine. Kidneys were in his mind as he moved about the kitchen softly, writing her breakfast things on the humpy tray. Jetted light and air were in the kitchen, but out of doors, gentle summer morning everywhere made him feel a bit peckish. The coals were reddening. Another slice of bread and butter. 3, 4, right. She didn't like her plate full, right. He turned from the tray, lifted the kettle off the hob, and set it sideways on the fire. It sat there, dull and squat, its spout stuck out. Cup of tea soon. Good, mouth dry. The cat walked stiffly round a leg of the table, with tail on high. Meow! Oh, there you are, Mr. Bloom said, turning from the fire. The cat mewed in answer and stalked again, stiffly round a leg of the table, mewing. Just how she stalks over my writing table. Brrr, scratched my head. Brrr. Mr. Bloom watched curiously, kindly, the lithe black form, clean to see, the gloss of her sleek hide, the white button under the butt of her tail, the green flashing eyes. He bent down to her, his hand on his knees. Milk for the pussons, he said. Meow, the cat cried. They call them stupid. They understand what we say better than we understand them. She understands all she wants to. Vindictive too. Wonder what I look like to her. Height of a tower? No, she can jump me. Afraid of the chickens she is, he said mockingly. Afraid of the chook-chooks. I never saw such a stupid pussons as the pussons. Cruel, her nature. Curious mice never squeal. Seem to like it. Meow, the cat said loudly. She blinked up out of her avid, shame-closing eyes, mewing plaintively and long, showing him her milk-white teeth. He washed the dark eye-slits, narrowing with greed till her eyes were green stones. Then he went to the dresser, took the jug Hanlon's milkman had just filled for him, poured warm bubbled milk on a saucer, and set it slowly on the floor. Grrr, she cried, running to lap. He watched the bristles shining wryly in the weak light as she tipped 3 times and licked lightly. Wonder, is it true if you clip them, they can't mouse after? Why? They shine in the dark, perhaps, the tips. Or kind of feelers in the dark, perhaps. He listened to her licking lap. Ham and eggs, no good eggs in this drought. Want pure fresh water. Thursday, not a good day either for mutton kidney at Buckley's. Fried with butter, a shake of pepper. Better a poor kidney at Glugax while the kettle is boiling. She lapped slower, then licking the saucer clean. Why are their tongues so rough? To lap better. All porous holes. Nothing she can eat? He glanced round him. No. On quietly creaky boots, he went up to the staircase to the hall, paused by the bedroom door. She might like something tasty. Thin bread and butter she likes in the morning. Still, perhaps, once in a way. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Maz. This passage was amazing. It tells us about this literary genius which Joyce possessed. And if you'd read Ulysses, you'd come to know that in each and every chapter he has a completely different style. He's the master of language. He can flex language to his readers. He portrays language as reality. Once you start reading him, you'd come to know that language becomes reality for you, and you start living inside language, which is your reality. So thank you again, Maz. We also have just one 5 minute. We have another note, like a 5-minute note from Ms. Nabila Aslam, who is a media and gender expert, and she's the program manager at PODA. She would like to talk about literature and Joyce as well. So please, Ms. Nabila, if you could.
Yes, hello. This is a bit formal note. Respected and dear guests, friends, artists, and writers, welcome. Today marks a special occasion as we celebrate Bloomsday in Pakistan for the first time, honoring James Joyce through discussion and performance, and as you presented, Tape or Lande. We are honored by the presence of Ambassador Mary O'Neill and Mr. Max Roveri, their interest and their presence to reflect strong cultural ties between their countries and Pakistan as well. On behalf of Ms. Samina Nazir, Executive Director, PODA, we extend our sincere gratitude to Ambassador Mary O'Neill for joining us. She is in Dublin at the moment, luckily, and she is exploring the city there herself. And she sent warm wishes from there. And PODA is very proud to support today's program alongside Qissa Khwani Theatre. We are very pleased that Mr. Basit Mushtaq, PODA's creative arts consultant, is part of this celebration. And just want to say a few words for James Joyce. He was not only a literary inventor, he was a great storyteller. And he was the one who believed that ordinary lives mattered. He transformed everyday and demonstrated that societies understand themselves through the stories they tell and through the stories they choose to hear. So with this tribute, I want to end, and I want to say, like at PODA, we just try in our own capacity to link with people, with their needs, with their interest, and with their priorities to solve solutions by their own hand, with their own thinking, and with their own solutions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You have rightly said. Joyce's Leopold Bloom is not an extraordinary. I mean, he's an extraordinary character, but he's no god or no saint. He's an ordinary man, just wandering around Dublin. And I realized this. It took me some time, but then I came to know that ordinary stories they matter because they represent the human condition at its best. So of course, Joyce is a master of representing the human condition. Do you have any questions in the audience?
Ansar Gilani, English commentator on sports and society. I am also the originator of the idea Save the Human Race. I have written 2 books on it, Poverty Alleviation Through Sports and Education, as to how integration of the lowest countries' societies. To me, I think the literature is the shaper and the sustainer of the societies. And there is a gulf difference between colonization through weaponization and socialization through literature and philosophy. All civilization took start from Sumerian and Babylonian backgrounds and stepped into Greeks, traveled through Romans, and then Islam saved the Western civilization when Romans were at the crackdown with the literary figures than the times. Then it traveled Germans, Frenchers, and final destination reached in England. And England's and Ireland is one of the greatest, you can say, contribution to the literature. When I was in Inter and stepped to, you can say, literature, there was a play, Irish play, Freedom Fighter, and police was always, you can say, English police was always chasing him down, tracking him down, but he was sitting among the policemen and telling them what's the difference between to be on duty and to be a liberator. And free men could be in chains, but free thinking cannot be controlled, and it's the greatest contribution. I also studied G.B. Shaw's Man and Superman. I think Pygmalions, and is particularly the vital theory how to be cool and be 150 years age and increase your age. That's what the greatest. So paying tribute to this greatest figures, the black holes, you can say festivities, and all your presence makes the day an enriched one. But the question is only this one. What's shoulders over the English literatures? What's the contribution of, you can say, the Irish ones? What's the stylistic features of, you can say, Irish literature, though they exchange the idea and shoulder and neighbor each other, though they, to some extent, colonizers, but Irish ones, being in chains, they showed that resilience.
Thank you, Mr. Gilani. You
and
got the question.
Free thinking is shared and ideas are being shared.
Thank you so much.
And what's the
if
sharp, towering, you can say, edge on English literature?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Gilani.
Thank you.
Just asking for your permission, Madam Ambassador. If you'd give me the permission, I can answer his question, because I've my masters in Irish literature, so I just quickly answer that.
We're in the presence of an expert.
No, just quickly answering his question. Irish literature, every Irish writer, if you look at the last century, every Irish writer has this exclusive nature and exclusive expression towards whatever they were going through. So they're different from each other. If you talk about W.B. Yeats, he's very much concerned about preserving what being an Irish means to him, the Irish identity. For James Joyce, the Irish identity is more of a universal identity, because he's an artist, and the love for Dublin, which is there in James Joyce, he wants every writer or every artist or every person to feel the same love for their cities or their countries. Shaw came up with this rational justification for transforming the society. Wilde is a romantic. He has a different answer to that. Beckett is a minimalist or an absurdist. He questioned the whole the human condition. So they all had different answers to what they were going through at that time period. But of course, it is a very interesting discussion, and we can keep on talking about it. I'm so sorry I took the liberty to answer this question, but I believe Dr. Beg has a suggestion here.
First of all, thank you very much for actually trying to bring Irish literature to Pakistan. High time. I spent a lot of time in England, actually, and lived there for a long time. And we were always talking about the Irish jokes, how the English are and about Ireland. But what I want to say is, you mentioned that you're very new here, and your embassy is also. Does this work? Your embassy is also new. My suggestion is, bring the course or Enya to Pakistan once, and everybody will know about Ireland, So the chorus, the music of Ireland.
The chorus, the music of Ireland.
And Enya, and so many others who are so good, because Irish music, especially now, and has always been, very, very, very popular around. But in Pakistan, people don't know that it's Irish, So one concert of either of them will bring them all alive, in this country.
Well, also in the other direction, the joys of Khwani are making themselves known
Yes,
in
of
Ireland.
course, of
You know,
course,
so
yeah.
it's an
Indeed,
exchange.
indeed,
Indeed,
you know,
it's so important to say that that exchange of that cultural exchange of music, literature, etc. That's the joys of having an embassy here and opening up the embassy. It just gives us a huge opportunity and a platform to share, for us to learn so much about the rich culture here in Pakistan. But the sharing of culture is what brings people together.
Yeah. I think they did a fantastic job by translating,
Waiting for Godot.
Waiting for Godot. You know, I was absolutely more shocked when I saw that play. You know, how could they have done it? Because it's one of the most difficult plays, you know, as such. So this cross-cultural aspect, you know, of languages, especially what we saw today, was absolutely marvelous. Even though I didn't understand anything about Pashto, though I am half a Pashto, you know, my mother is Pathan, so that was difficult, which I will talk to you about, you know. But thank you very
so much,
much.
Dr. Beg. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you. Do you have any other questions in the audience or just comments about Joyce? Sorry, I've given you enough. No, we'd like to hear. Yes, please. I mean, we are interested. Most of how many of you, you know, you knew Joyce before this session? I mean, Joyce is not very well known here in Pakistan, so there might be some people that they might be hearing about James Joyce for the first time. Thank you. Yes, please.
My name is Abdullah Harun. I am a literature student and somehow associated with the teaching of literature too. My question is basically I want to question the idea of this event because I was here thinking that we are more going to be exposed to more towards you may say the motifs and the content of the Joyce, but it was more biographical and you may say I don't want to say it, but I have to. It's much superficial face of Irish literature. These are the things you find on Google, first Google search, I think. So when you're going to design an event, I would say make it more substantial next time.
So much again. Thank you so much.
I would
yes,
like
please.
to thank you. Thank you for at least doing this to us.
Actually, it was maybe because of the time limitation. Of course, we wanted to talk more about Ulysses, but of course, we are in the company of Her Excellency the Ambassador, so we had to wrap in time. For that very reason, we had to cover Dublin, Islamabad, and Ulysses. But of course, I mean, if you'd Google Ulysses as well, you'd find everything regarding it on the first few pages. So Ulysses there on the internet as well. Yeah, our emphasis was more on. I mean, I and you, we can sit outside and we can talk about Ulysses because it's quite a heavy subject. And of course, I mean, for Ulysses, we wanted to have a panel. I mean, of academic experts here who can talk about Ulysses from an academic perspective. It is a technical novel, as you know. So we try to arrange an academic session. We had some sessions on other Irish writers as well. We discussed their work quite in detail, but then it sounds like a lecture and we wanted to avoid that, so that's why. Thank you.
Can I add just one thing to that?
Sure.
And it's just to say Bloomsday happens every year. So there is an opportunity every year, and this is what we see in Dublin and Ireland, is that there's different themes, different kind of going into the depth of Joyce's work. So each year has a different flavour. But I think it's a good suggestion for future years that we could take particular aspects. So thanks for your observation.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the audience?
Ahmad.
Yes, Max.
A comment which is a joke. Okay, mind what you wish for. Okay, because we can go on for weeks about Joyce. So mind what you wish for. Okay.
I agree. we might perform, some Irish plays in the future. We are thinking to perform The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde and a rerun of Waiting for Godot, maybe. So we would invite you there, and then, of course, we would see the play and we would enjoy it and we would talk about it. So if there are no more questions, I'm grateful to all of you who took time and attended the event. It was a pleasure hosting all of you. In cities like Islamabad, we do not find a lot of opportunities to discuss writers. So once again, thank you to the Black Hole. Thank you, Max and San Patrizio Livorno Festival. Thank you, the Irish Embassy in Pakistan, TCF, PODA, and thank you all for attending. Thank you so much.